Welcome to our travel series on the best hotels, resorts, and vacation rentals to help you plan your perfect stay.
If you love to travel and want to stay in the loop with all the latest tips, reviews, and updates, be sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to like and share. We do appreciate the support. Welcome to Bali and the Seminyak Beach Resort and Spa. We're going to cover everything you need to know about this resort and see if it's worth your time and your money. Seminyak is pretty much centrally located near most of the tourist towns, except for some towns up north, like the very popular Ubud, which is definitely worth a visit. And we made Seminyak our last destination in Bali since it was so close to the airport. First, let's talk about getting to Seminyak. Usually you'll be coming from another resort, hotel, or the airport. First, let's look at the airport. Getting through the airport on arrival is a pretty simple and easy process, as long as you have everything in order. Check out our Bali's tips video to make your entry into this country seamless. And one item that I feel is very important and probably will give you a little less stress in your life is to have a pre-booked ride from the airport. Either make arrangements with your hotel, resort, or if you have a driver or a guide for the week, they can usually do an airport transfer as well, because sometimes leaving this airport, it can be hectic and very busy. Right now, it's not too crowded, but when there are a lot of flights coming in or in the morning, this area is filled with taxi drivers and a lot of them can be quite pushy, so having a prearranged ride will make your travel experience a little less stressful. Now, you have some other options for getting around Bali. As of now, I don't think Bluebird is allowed to pick you up at the airport, but I believe they can still drop you off there. And Grab and GoCar can pretty much go anywhere throughout Bali. I would suggest downloading either the Go or Grab Car app. We used Grab throughout Bali. It was really easy to use, it was very inexpensive, and really reliable. Now, we can't really talk about Bali without mentioning its less than ideal traffic situation. The traffic here can get pretty bad, especially during rush hour, so take that into consideration when planning your itinerary. Now let's head over to the Seminyak Beach Resort and Spa's website. Here, of course, you can get all the information you need to know about this resort. I would say this resort is pretty much on the higher end of resorts in this area, so we're going to take a look at the rooms, the prices, and see whether this resort is really worth it for your next vacation to Bali. Let's first take a look at the booking process. For our demo here, we're going to do a 3-night stay in June for 2 people. And there's other information here depending on which days you book, like minimum stay, date with the best price, or days where there's only 1 room available. Just to make everything easier, we're going to keep the language in English and change the currency to the US dollar. Now, we're going to take a look at each room and the price options here. But just remember, these prices are of the day of filming, so always check the website to see the latest prices and deals. Now, the first 2 rooms we're going to look at are the Garden King and Twin rooms. These are the least expensive rooms in the resort, and these rooms are actually located in a building across the street from the main resort. Now, they're still part of the resort. You just have to cross a small street to get to the main facilities, and we'll show you a little later where they're located within the resort. So if it's not that important for you to be within the main campus of this resort and you want to save a little money, these garden rooms might just be a viable option for you. Next up, you have the Beach Room King and Twin, which are on the resort themselves. Even though they call it a beach room, I'm not quite sure you can actually see the beach from these rooms, but they do have a really nice view, which we'll see later. Next up on the price scale, you have the Ocean Suite with jacuzzi and the Ocean Suite Twin. Now, if you want to step it up to the next level, you could take a look at the Ocean Pool Villas or the Garden Pool Villas, which are very nice, but a little bit out of our price range. So we ended up going with the Beach Room King, which was the least expensive room while still on the main property. Now, once you choose your room, you do have a few options. They have a couple of package deals, and if you think you might have to change your date or reschedule your trip, you might want to have some security by selecting the flexible option. And if you're going to book early enough, you might want to take advantage of the early bird special. We did, and saved a little money. And as we move on to the next page, there's a few more selections to choose from. The airport transfer is convenient, but like we spoke about earlier, there are less expensive options out there. And at the bottom, you could enter any special requests you might have. Here's a good place to mention if you're coming here for a birthday or an anniversary, you might just find something special in the room when you arrive. And here you can see that check-in time is at 2 p.m. and check-out time is at noon. Then check to make sure your itinerary is correct, fill in your information, and pay. That's really about it. Now when you arrive in your room, you'll have access to this QR code, which will take you to this site, which will provide you with all the information you'll really need to know about this resort while staying here. You'll have all your different dining and menu options. Although besides breakfast, we did most of our dining in town. Then you'll have information about the spa and any activities at the resort, as well as contact information, of course. And I do think it's a good idea to have WhatsApp downloaded to your phone, as the resort did contact us a few times through WhatsApp. Now let's take a quick look at the layout of the resort. I thought the resort was thoughtfully designed and well laid out. Here you can see a list of all the facilities at the resort. And as we zoom out, let's first take a look at the garden rooms we spoke about earlier. They're similar to the beachfront rooms, and they're really not that far away, and you are saving some money, so it is a viable option. And here's where we called home while staying at this resort, the beachfront room, and we'll show you everything about this room later in the video. Now it's time we finally take you to the resort. As we arrived at the resort, we were more than welcomed with friendly smiles and a very warm greeting. And as you walk into the entrance hall, they have some sort of welcoming gong, I believe. And of course, Lily had to participate. And after the sound of the gong finally dissipated, we decided to take a few photos. And then we were politely escorted to a waiting area where we went through the typical check-in process, and they provided us with some information about the resort and our rooms, as well as pay for any outstanding balances. Now our check-in and check-out process were both pretty seamless, but one thing that irked me a little bit on checkout was that they asked us to wait in the lobby while they checked the room to see if we left anything behind, which is usually resort talk for we want to check the minibar to see if anything's missing, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And a nice woman from the spa came over and gave us some information about the spa, while Lily received a very nice welcome massage. Then came our welcome drinks. Non-alcoholic, but they were quite refreshing, especially on this typical hot Bali day. Then they escorted us to our Beach King room on the top floor. And here we are, room 3215. Let's take a look inside. I always seem to have these expectations every time I walk into a resort room for the first time. Let's see if this room meets our expectations. Let's bring our focus to the wall across from the bed. First, we have some complimentary water, which was refreshed as needed. And you also had a few snacks to choose from. And with our room type, they will cost you. And they were pretty pricey. You also have some complimentary fresh fruit, which we did eat. And next to that, you had two conveniently located power outlets. And you also had ice on request, which we did a few times, and they brought it up pretty quickly, which is representative of the quality Balinese service received at this resort. Now let's look in the cabinets below and see what we have. First off, we have the mini bar, and depending which room type you have, you might have to pay for these, so check ahead of time. We almost never use the mini bar, except maybe to store our own drinks, as they're usually cheaper at a convenience store, or even on the beach in this case. Next to that, you have some makings for coffee and tea, as well as some glassware. Next up was the large flat screen TV on the wall, which was never turned on. We don't really watch TV on vacation, but I'm sure it worked fine. Moving on, you had your desk, just in case you needed to get some work done or write a postcard. Does anybody send postcards anymore? Anyway, you also have your QR code that we showed you earlier, where you can get all the information for this resort. Now let's swing around to the centerpiece of this room, this beautiful king-size bed, which was very comfortable, and the sheets were really soft. And after traveling from Japan to Singapore to Bali, we really did need a great night's sleep. Oh, and I should mention they had these two very comfortable ottomans at the end of the bed. Now let's move on to the nightstand on the right side of the bed. You have your remote controls, tissues, and drawers for storage. Moving over to the left side of the bed, you have some light switches and power outlets, and what I think is a CD player, just in case you brought some CDs with you. On top of the table, you had your standard resort phone, an alarm clock, a pad, and this environmentally friendly message. And we do appreciate what the resort is doing for our planet. Next to the bed, you have a flashlight and your own personal gooseneck lamp. I should also mention that even with the shades open and the lights on, the room was kinda dark. That didn't really bother us much, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Now let's move on to the closet by the front door where you had ample storage for your luggage. In here you had your personal safe and a few more drawers for storage. And on the other side you had your resort umbrella. It does rain in Bali. Then you have your own personal Seminyak Beach Resort and Spa slippers, which Lily was nice enough to model for us. Moving on to the very spacious bathroom. First, let's take a look at the bathroom vanity, where you had an extra wide sink, which really does make a difference. And we have a couple of more bottled waters, and more amenities than I could shake a toothbrush at, but I do appreciate more amenities than less. And of course, they had a power outlet here as well. Now let's move over to what's gotta be the focal point of this bathroom, the rose-petaled bath, where they provide you with a few more amenities. And we did mention when booking that this was a special occasion. That's why the rose petals. You also have these very comfortable robes, which I did wear, even though I'm not really a robe person. Now let's move into the stall, which was very clean, and I did like the fact that it had its own door and phone, and no, we did not use the phone. Now moving on to this very spacious shower with a shower wand and a rain head. Let's go and take a look inside. And I do really appreciate when resorts give you full-size shampoos, conditioners, and shower gels. It's those little things that make a difference. And you might be a little curious about this big window facing the bed, and if you're a little shy, you don't have to worry. As Lily demonstrates, you have these practical and convenient blinds. These blinds are easily raised and lowered to give you some privacy if that's what you're looking for. Now let's move outside and take a look at our balcony. Through these sliding doors, you have a small table, 2 chairs, and a dryer rack, which we actually did use, and we did have this incredible view. We could see almost the entire resort from up here. Now ours was called a beach room. Now I'm not exactly sure if you can see the beach, maybe through these trees, which wasn't really important because we really enjoyed the view both day and night, and it was a great place to drink a beer and enjoy the night before we went out to dinner. Okay, I think it's about time we left the room and actually checked out the rest of the resort. But first off, let's check out the Wi-Fi in the room. Now the Wi-Fi wasn't blazing fast, but it was sufficient enough for emails, texts, and navigating around town. And conveniently located by the front door, you have your room service and do not disturb switch, which can easily be seen outside the room. And we did miss room service once, so they left us this nice little note. And as we leave the room, we have a nice little view of trees and the resort next door. Now let's take a little walk and check out the grounds on the resort. Walking around this resort really had a tranquil feel to it. I mean, it really should. You're in Bali, you're by the beach, everybody here was so nice, and coupled with the fact that it really wasn't that crowded, made for an enjoyable, relaxing stay. And I did like that they kept up with the environmentally friendly theme with these bins throughout the resort. Continuing with our tour, they also had the Sanjay restaurant and lounge, and a hall where you could hold an event or a beach wedding. Not a bad idea. And here are the garden view rooms that we spoke about earlier. And if you don't mind being directly across the street, you can save a few dollars. Here are the ocean suites, and here are the villas. So we saw this sign at the resort. I'm not exactly sure what the transformation will be, so we might just have to come back, do a part 2, and experience the unrivaled experience. Now let's take a look at the pools in this resort. There are a few of them. This first one is an incredible beachfront infinity pool. I thought the pool areas were visually stunning. They really did a great job. and made it for a great location for a peaceful getaway. And in addition, you had some amazing views from the pool area. Now you had a few different seating options around the pool, like this table and chairs, as well as your standard resort lounge chairs. And the good thing is, we never really had to wait for a lounge chair. There was always one available. And at the near end of the pool, you had this little cabana where you can get your towels, some infused water, and order some food and drinks. And they also had a bar at the far end of the pool for your convenience. Now, we're more beach people than pool people, but this pool was so nice, we spent some time here just relaxing and enjoying this beautiful Bali day. And please pay attention to the rules at the pool, especially rule number 10. Keep your phone in silent or in vibrate mode. It just shows respect to your fellow travelers and provides a more peaceful environment. Now, we usually don't order food or drinks at a resort. We usually go into town or find something along the beach, which is less convenient but also usually less expensive. But today we did participate in the 2-for-1 happy hour special. These drinks were really good and strong, but unfortunately beer wasn't included in this happy hour special. And I should mention that the pool isn't open at night, but you do get some beautiful sky views. Now let's move on over and check out the next pool in this resort. This area intrigued me. I really enjoyed the design elements here, the wonderful statues, the pristine and picturesque landscaping, and I thought those little wooden bridges were a nice touch. Now, even though this pool had a really nice swim-up bar, it remained empty for most of our stay. I'm assuming that's because most people wanted to spend time at the infinity pool. Now, if you booked one of the special dinners, you could have it here, outside, in front of the beach, under the stars. Not a bad way to dine. Now, when we first arrived in Bali, people were telling us, in the evening, everyone stops what they're doing and waits for the beautiful Balinese sunset. Now, we have seen better sunsets around the world, but this view is pretty amazing. Now we're going to move from the pool to the beach. And as it says in the name, this resort is conveniently located in front of a pristine beach. Now, we didn't see any chairs or umbrellas in this location, and I'm assuming that's because during high tide, they'd probably just get washed away. Now, this beach was really nice, but the sand and the ocean in Seminyak does not really compare to that of the Caribbean. But it's still a great beach, and we'll take that any day of the week. And the lifeguards here seem to always be on the go, moving the flags around for your safety, as the ocean here can get a little unpredictable. So for your safety, please pay attention to the lifeguards, the flags, as well as the rules for the beach. The waves here can get pretty rough at times, which might not be so great for swimmers, but awesome for surfers, bodyboarders, and boogie boarders, as Lily demonstrates here. And as I mentioned earlier, we're not really pool people, we're more beach people, so a perfect day for us was lay our blanket on the beach, relax, and enjoy an iced cold beer, or 4. One thing we really liked about walking down this beach were these little stands, where you can rent a board, like we did, and you can buy some beers and coconuts at really reasonable prices, and basically just sit back, relax, enjoy a fresh coconut and a refreshing beer on yet another picturesque Bali day. So one afternoon, we took a little walk down the beach to check out happy hour at the Potato Head Resort. We heard a lot about it, and there really is a lot going on here at happy hour. Now, this is one of the resorts we were originally thinking about booking. We'll cover more about this place and the town in a future video. When we left happy hour, it was kind of dark out, but we took a walk down the beach back to our resort, and even though the beach was pretty much empty, we felt totally safe at all times here. Now, we can't really leave the beach without showing you a few glamour shots of some of the amazing Balinese sunsets we experienced. Now let's take a quick look at the spa and fitness center at this resort, which is off the main hall when you first enter the resort. Now we received a discount for one spa treatment, which Lily took advantage of. She tried to book a specific facial, which was unavailable at the time, so she booked a different one. And she said it was more like a face massage than a facial, so it was a pass for her. Since it was cloudy out and Lily was getting a facial, I thought I'd get in one of those vacation workouts. And the gym here was pretty nice. It was clean, well equipped, with towels and fresh water. Not to mention, I was the only one in here. And right outside the spa, they had an ATM machine for your convenience. It wasn't working this day, but they guaranteed me they'd have it fixed soon. Now join us as we take this beautiful walk to our complimentary breakfast. The space here was really nice. It was an open space surrounded by lush gardens, and as you enter, you just give them your room number and maybe your name, I don't remember, and you can sit wherever you want. There were plenty of different seating options here. The breakfast area was spread out and was designed so well that even when it was close to full, it never really seemed crowded here. And I think each day we were here, we sat in a different section just to mix it up a little. Now they had so many different food options here, you'd be hard-pressed not to find something to your liking. Now in addition to the buffet, they had some food to order. We'll show you that a little later. So just sit back and relax and enjoy a little bit of our breakfast buffet tour. I should mention, even though we did most of our dining and drinking in town or on the beach, this resort does have some excellent dining options, as well as a classic bar. Okay, as we get back to our buffet tour, I really did like the fact that they had an assortment of fresh fruit every morning, as well as a selection of fresh fruit juices. At least I think they were fresh. Either way, the fruit juices were quite refreshing. Of course, how can we finish a breakfast buffet without some high-quality Balinese desserts? Now let's take a quick view at some of our meals. This day I started off with some local tea and some fresh fruit juice, while Lily went for the cappuccino and I believe a vegetable fruit juice combo. As we mentioned earlier, we had some food to order options. We ordered some avocado toast, which was good, but not quite as good as the one we make with smoked salmon, capers, and arugula, but still pretty good. Now one morning we had asked them if they had any fish entrees, and they didn't. But they surprised us, and the chef made us this fish stew just for us, and it was amazing. Now that's taking service to a whole new level. And after our meal, of course we had to sample some of these Balinese delights. And what I really liked about these desserts is that they weren't too sweet, and they had this unique and interesting texture to them. And right outside the breakfast area, they had this very enchanting koi pond, which I really feel added to the total ambiance of this resort. And they even had this little table next to the koi pond where you can take food to feed the fish, which we did, of course, and it looked like they thoroughly enjoyed their breakfast buffet. Now, one of the main reasons we chose Seminyak to spend a few days, well, besides the beach of course, was that it's a very walkable town, and they had a wide variety of shopping options here, and try to shop from local merchants if you can. And as we mentioned earlier, we did most of our dining and drinking in town, and this sign pretty much says it all. And we found some really good food in town that was pretty inexpensive. We were pretty much looking for fish and seafood, and we found an abundance of it. Like we mentioned earlier, we're going to cover everything about Seminyak, our food options, shopping, and what we liked and didn't like about this town in our full video review of Seminyak. And the myth is really true. We went to one restaurant in which the beer was actually cheaper than the water. another great reason to visit Bali. Earlier in the video, we talked about arriving in Bali. Now we're going to talk about leaving Bali. Please get to the airport early. While arriving in Bali was a pretty seamless process, leaving Bali was quite a different story. When we were at the airport, it took about 2.5 hours between check-in, security, and passport control, so get to the airport a little early, just to be safe. And by arriving early, we were able to grab a drink or two at the airport lounge. Now some final thoughts on the Seminyak Beach Resort and Spa. We thought this was the perfect stay in Seminyak. It had a great location on the beach, a beautiful infinity pool, a wide variety of options for breakfast, and the staff was extremely nice. Some might think that the cost here is a little on the high end, but we felt it was well worth it. I hope this helps you the next time you travel to Bali. Safe travels. If you love to travel and want to stay in the loop with all the latest tips, reviews, and updates, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to like and share. We do appreciate the support.